You're 25. It's 11 at night. You're on Zillow. Not because you're buying, just because. 12 million, California. Gates, hedges so perfect they look like someone painted them there. And you're lying in bed thinking, what is that person's life actually like? Not the house, the life inside it. Here's the thing. That gap between that listing and where you are right now, it didn't start with a salary. It started with a key, and what that key does to a person over time. Or what not having one does. You don't have a key. You're back in your old bedroom. Same ceiling, same window that sticks when it rains. There's a poster on the wall from a band you stopped listening to 3 years ago and you never took it down because taking it down would mean admitting something. The bed is a twin. You haven't been a twin-sized person in a long time. But here you are. Your car is in your dad's driveway, not your driveway. His. The financial system hasn't registered you yet. No rental history. Credit score exists, but barely. If you walked into an apartment building tomorrow, the landlord would look at the screen, look at you and ask one thing. Do you have someone who can co-sign? That someone would be one of your parents, your name on the paper, their credibility holding the whole thing up. Nobody talks about this. But everyone at this level is living some version of it. Friday dinner. Your mom asks how the job search is going. Not with pressure, with that specific, careful tone of someone who's been thinking about it all week, and this is the version they decided was safe to say out loud. You say it's going fine. It's not going fine. That night you lie there and look at the ceiling, same ceiling from when you were 17. And the weirdest part isn't being back here. The weirdest part is there's still a small voice going, this is temporary. You hold on to that voice. It's the only thing in this room that feels like it's moving. The key is real now. Small, brass, hardware store 3 blocks from the building, $2.75. You put it on its own ring, separate from everything else. You don't really know why. It just felt right. Studio, 460 square feet, $1,500 a month. The bathroom door doesn't close all the way. The kitchen is a counter with 2 burners and just enough space to stand if you don't move your elbows. The window faces a brick wall. You love it. Before you signed the lease, the landlord ran a credit check. You sat in a plastic chair and waited, maybe 40 seconds. Felt longer. The screen turned toward you. Approved. But 2 months deposit instead of 1. You paid without asking why. You knew why. First night, no furniture yet. You sit on the floor with a pizza box from the corner spot. No table, no chair, just the floor and the pizza, and the key sitting on the kitchen counter where you can see it from across the room. You could be eating this same pizza at your parents' house right now. Same pizza, better couch, 0 rent. But it wouldn't taste like this. Later you lock the door from the inside, then unlock it, then lock it again. Just to feel it. Just to check that when this door locks, it locks for you. You sleep on an air mattress for 3 weeks waiting for the bed frame to ship. 3 weeks of waking up 6 inches off the floor in a room that is yours. Honestly, best 3 weeks in recent memory. Different building, gym on the 2nd floor, pool in the courtyard. The hallways actually smell clean, not spray bottle clean. Actually clean. Rent is $1,900 a month. Emergency fund has 3 months of expenses sitting in it. 401k is growing, slowly but growing. Credit card gets paid in full every month without that conversation in your head about whether you can. When you signed this lease, there was no plastic chair, no waiting room. The property manager met you at the door, showed you the unit, sent paperwork by email that evening. The welcome letter had your name typed at the top. Not your dad's name. Yours. You read it twice. You don't tell anyone you read it twice. The couch is real now, not Facebook Marketplace. An actual store where you sat on 4 options on a Saturday and picked the one you wanted. They delivered Tuesday. You sat down that night and didn't run the math in your head. That's the thing nobody explains about this level. It's not the couch, it's the not running the math. A surprise expense used to mean a bad week. Moving money around at 2 in the morning trying to make it fit. Now it means a Tuesday where you spend some money. Just a Tuesday. The anxiety doesn't disappear. You should know that going in. It doesn't pack up and leave. It moves, goes from your throat to somewhere further back. Still there. Just not the first thing anymore. You have a key to this place too. Same brass copy probably, but you hold it differently now. Less like something precious, more like something expected. That shift is so small you almost miss it. This key came in an envelope from the title company. Small card with the address. 2 keys on a ring. Your name is on the deed. 3 bedrooms. Suburb. 40 minutes from the city on a good day. Garage. Backyard with grass that grows whether you tend to it or not. Mortgage is $1,800 a month. 30-year fixed at 6.1%. The mortgage broker called you first. That was new. You mentioned you'd heard rates could sometimes be negotiated. He said he'd check. 2 days later, 6.1 instead of 6.4. Nothing dramatic. But you asked, and it worked. That had never worked at this scale before. You didn't buy this house because you made it. You bought it because you were tired. Tired of lease renewals. Tired of rent going up every 12 months and waiting to find out by how much. Tired of that annual moment where someone else decides if you're allowed to stay another year. The mortgage is 30 years. 30 years is the answer to that question. First Saturday you mow the lawn. Nobody asked. Nobody's coming to inspect it. You push the mower across the backyard and there's a smell, cut grass, and something underneath it that you didn't know you'd been waiting for. Your neighbor Carol has lived 3 houses down for 9 years. She waves from her driveway on Sunday mornings. She knows which neighbor leaves their trash cans out too long and which kid 2 streets over keeps kicking a ball into everyone's yard. You are now part of this. 6 weeks in, 3 in the morning. You open the calculator on your phone, not because something's wrong, just to check. Run the numbers. Everything's fine. Run them again. Still fine. You put the phone down, look at the ceiling of a room that belongs to you. The ceiling doesn't look different from any other ceiling. But lying under it feels different in a way you can't really explain. You just know that when you wake up tomorrow, nobody's telling you to leave. The neighborhood has a gate. Not a security gate, just a low brick wall at the entrance and a road that curves inward in a way that says something without saying anything. You drove past here once, 2 years ago. Kept going. Didn't feel like a place you'd stop. Now you live here. 4 bedrooms. 2 stories. The elementary school district rating you checked 17 times before making the offer. Your neighbors? On the left, a cardiologist named Diane and her husband in commercial real estate. On the right, Robert, who owns urgent care clinics and runs at 5:30 every morning without fail. You know their professions before you know their last names. That's just how it works here. The mortgage is the largest number you've ever committed to. On paper, net worth crosses $1 million. In the checking account, after the down payment and closing costs, things look quieter than you expected. Millionaire on paper. Calculator open at 2 in the morning. Some things don't change as fast as the number does. Then Christmas. Your parents drive up, first time seeing the house in person. Your mom walks through the living room slowly, touches the countertop, looks out at the backyard. Your dad doesn't say much. He walks through the kitchen, looks up at the ceiling, looks around, then at you. 2 words, you did good. Then he goes to find somewhere to sit. 5 seconds, no ceremony. But you stay in that kitchen a little longer than you need to after he walks away. Because that just said something the mortgage papers never could. Someone who watched you sleep in a twin bed for 2 years just told you that you landed somewhere real. 3 weeks later, school pickup. Another parent introduces himself. Brendan. Finance. He asks what you do. You tell him. He nods. Measured, calibrated. You recognize that nod because you used to give it to other people. You're on the receiving end now, and you're not totally sure how you feel about that. The house doesn't hold your life anymore. It presents it. Home office with real walls and a door that closes. Wine room off the kitchen that a designer helped you plan over 3 meetings. Pool out back on a timer. The range in the kitchen cost more than your first car. You didn't mean to buy a range that cost more than your first car. You just kept saying yes when they kept upgrading things. When people come for dinner now, the house does something you didn't expect. It speaks before you do. A business contact walks in for the first time. He doesn't say anything about the house directly, but you watch his eyes move across the entry, the ceiling height, the kitchen visible from the front door. He adjusts, slightly. The way people adjust when something updates their assumptions about who they're dealing with. You didn't plan this, but you notice it, and you file it away. One evening, you're at the kitchen window, pool lit up below, glass of something good. You think about your college roommate Danny, the apartment you two shared, carpet that was already old when you moved in, shower that took 4 minutes to get warm. You text Danny, he comes over the following weekend. Dinner is good, conversation is good. But there's a moment, maybe 3 seconds, where he goes quiet and looks around the room. Not with envy. Something more complicated than that. You see it, he sees you, see it, you both move past it immediately. But the moment happened, and the distance inside that moment is something money put there without asking either of you. The gate closes behind you automatically. You didn't press anything. A sensor reads the car. The gate opens, you pull through, it closes. You've stopped noticing this. That's the thing nobody prepares you for. Not the gate, not the cameras at 4 corners of the property, not the intercom with a screen that shows you who's outside before they know you're watching. The thing nobody prepares you for is how fast extraordinary becomes ordinary. Private estate, acre and a half. Mature trees along the perimeter that took 40 years to grow. Garage for 4 cars. The garden gets maintained 3 times a week by a crew who arrive Tuesday and Friday. You don't schedule them because it's already in a calendar that someone else manages. The annual cost of running this property, utilities, staff, maintenance, insurance, taxes, is more than the suburb house cost to buy. You know this number. You looked at it once in a spreadsheet, filed it, never thought about it again. 6 months in, your attorney flagged something. Standard procedure at this level, she said. Non-disclosure agreements for household staff. Not because anything specific happened. Just because the details of your life, your schedule, your guests, your habits, are information worth protecting now. You signed where she indicated. You didn't ask many questions. And in the car on the way home, you sat with that for a minute. The fact that your daily life now needs legal architecture around it. The fact that you signed without asking many questions. The fact that both of those things felt completely normal. That's the actual shift at this level. Not the gate, the normalizing. Old friends visit less, not because you stopped inviting them. Because the visit requires something from them now. A drive through a gate, a buzzing in, a house that takes a certain composure to walk into without reacting. Most people don't say anything about the house. That's how you know it got to them. There's a staff, not one person, a staff. Property manager named Vincent who sends a monthly operations report, 2 groundskeepers, 2 housekeepers, rotating security overnight, personal assistant managing the calendar, the vendors, the repairs, the deliveries. The decisions you've decided are below the threshold of your attention. The guest house is separate from the main house, tennis court on the east side, staff quarters in the back. 7 bedrooms in the main house, which means when your family visits, entire wings stay closed. Entire wings. You walked through one last month for the first time in 3 months. Everything exactly as it should be. Perfectly maintained. Fresh flowers in a vase in a room nobody had entered since the flowers were last replaced. Someone had been taking care of a room you forgot existed. One morning you come through the kitchen early, before the day starts. There's a woman arranging something in the refrigerator. She looks up, smiles, "Good morning." Uses your name. You smile back. You don't know her name. She's worked in your home for 4 months. She knows yours. You don't know hers. In the 8 seconds that interaction lasts, you feel something you don't have a word for. You mention it to no one. Later that week, you ask Vincent for the full staff list. He sends it. 12 names. You recognize 4 of them. You put your phone down. The real question at this level isn't what does this house cost? It's who runs it when you're not here. And the honest answer is, it runs better when you're not here. Your presence disrupts things. Your absence lets it function properly. You are, in the most literal sense, a variable your own home has optimized around. The key ring sits on a dish by the front door. You haven't picked it up in 2 weeks. Vincent has a copy. security has a copy, your assistant has a copy. The key that once meant everything, that $2.75 copy separate ring locking it twice just to feel it, that key is gone. Not lost. Just irrelevant. You have 4 homes. Miami, New York, Aspen, a property outside Santa Barbara you've been to twice since you bought it. Each one staffed year-round. Whether you're there or not, the lights come on in the evening. The refrigerators are stocked with your preferences. Someone somewhere knows what you like better than most people in your life do. You don't know who that someone is. You tell your assistant you're going to Miami Thursday. That's the whole conversation. By the time you land, the AC has been running for 2 hours. Kitchen's stocked. Cars in the garage with a full tank. Someone wrote down your preferences a long time ago. The information just lives in a system now. One evening at dinner in New York, someone asks where you're based. You pause. 2 seconds. Because the honest answer requires a calculation. 4 cities. You were in one of them 11 days last year. The house you've owned the longest is somewhere you barely go anymore. You say New York. It's the easiest answer. In the car afterward, you think about the studio, 460 square feet, the key on its own ring. You knew exactly where you lived then. The answer was small, but it was yours without a pause. There is no key. The doors lock. Biometric panel at the main entrance, security team on rotating shifts. But you don't carry a key. You haven't in years. You walk to the door. The panel reads you. It opens. The house knows it's you before you reach for anything, before you think about it. 11 acres, main residence, 2 guest structures, staff quarters, helipad on the north end, 8 vehicles in the garage, 4 of which you haven't driven in over a year. There are rooms in this house you haven't entered in months. Not because they're locked, because there's no reason to go there. They exist, they're maintained, fresh flowers, clean surfaces, light through windows someone washed last week. But no memory gets made in them. They'll stay that way until you decide to have guests. You have a chef named Aurelio who's worked for you 6 years. He knows you don't eat red meat on Mondays. You mentioned it once, in passing. Never again. He adjusted the menus, never brought it up. That's what this level actually buys. Not luxury. Anticipation. The world moves toward what you need before you name it. Coffee made before you reach the kitchen, car pulled around before you finish the call. And somewhere in that, something atrophies. The muscle of waiting. Standing in line. Hold music. Checking the weather before you leave because you might need a jacket. Gone. Not dramatically, just quietly, over years, without announcement. You only notice it when something doesn't go smoothly and your reaction to it surprises you. One afternoon, quiet Tuesday. No calls until 3. You walk through the house alone. Kitchen, hallway, living room, formal dining room used 4 times a year. Down a wing, you rarely visit a bedroom at the end. Large, perfectly made, curtains drawn exactly right, that you cannot remember the last time anyone slept in. You stand in the doorway. You think about a studio apartment, 460 square feet, a window facing a brick wall, a key on its own ring. You try to remember what it felt like to lock that door twice, just to feel it, just to check that it locked for you. You can't quite get back there. Garrett sends a message. Something needs a signature. You walk back toward the office. Behind you, the bedroom stays perfect. The flowers stay fresh. Nobody's sleeping there tonight. Nobody slept there last night either. Cut back. From the compound to the estate. From the estate to the 4-bedroom in the gated neighborhood. Back to the suburb. The lawn you mowed yourself that first Saturday. Back to the apartment with the pool and the gym and the welcome letter with your name typed at the top. Back to the studio. 2 burners. The floor. The pizza box. Back to the twin bed. The poster. The driveway that belongs to someone else. And finally, a person. 25. Lying there at 11 at night. Phone in hand. Zillow open. 12 million. California. Gates. Hedges so perfect they look fake. They zoom in. They try to imagine the life inside it. They reach into their pocket. No key. Just a phone. They don't know yet that the answer isn't in that listing. It's in the first key. The $2.75 copy from the hardware store. The one you put on its own ring and lock twice just to feel it. Not the biometric panel. Not the 11 acres. Not the chef who remembers things you've already forgotten about yourself. Just that first one. The one that meant you were somewhere that was yours. Everything after that was just the number getting bigger. And the key getting quieter.